Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 16, featuring the brand new heavy metal horror film titled We Summon the Darkness. It is April 26th, 2020. I'm one half of your host, JP, podcasting out of southwestern Pennsylvania, and joining me tonight, also podcasting out of southwestern Pennsylvania, like 10 minutes or so down the road, is Carly. What up?
Not too much. Just been killing all day. It was actually nice out today, so I walked to the post office to mail something, but yeah, just been watching movies. What's up with you?
Did you mail me a gift?
No, I mailed my rent so that I can continue living here and not be homeless.
Could you have possibly given me some of that to rent?
No, because that would not be all of the rent, and my landlord would be like, what the heck? And then I would be
You think
homeless.
he would notice?
I would think, yeah, it was part of a check. I didn't mail him money.
I was saying if you just cut the check down and just gave me the other portion.
So you wanted me to write 2 checks, basically, and...
No,
like,
why would you write a check? A
what do you mean?
check.
Because, what, you want me to rip the check in half?
I'm
you know how
saying
checks work?
I'm saying write him a check for a lesser amount and give me the leftovers.
So you wanted me to write him like a small check, but then go get money out of my bank and give it to you?
Basically.
You're stupid, dude.
Why?
Because you do nothing to earn. You're always like, let me propose an idea. You give me everything you have, and that's it.
I just feel like you don't hear out my ideas.
It's just like you're always like, Carly, you give me just everything that you have to your name, and that is it.
I don't think that's how the conversation went.
And then I'm always like, what's in it for me? And you're like, what do you mean? And then you're like, I just get all the stuff, and that is it.
No, if you remember back, we had a good deal on your stimulus check.
Where you asked me to give you half of my stimulus check, and you guessed it, that was it.
Yeah.
While you were also getting your own stimulus check as well.
Yeah, dude. Sounds like a good deal.
How?
Well, because I would have 1.5 stimulus checks. It would be like 1.5 stimuli.
Okay, so it's a good deal do you know what a deal is?
Yeah, it's where I get money.
Yeah, like if you're like online or something, but like when you're making a deal with someone, you're like, hey, let me make a deal with you. There's usually a benefit for both partners involved.
I think you're misunderstanding my terms in the contract.
What contract?
The one I had you sign.
Dude, I didn't sign it.
Yes, you did when you joined this podcast.
I don't need this podcast.
What? You're not a podcaster.
I'm a very esteemed podcaster these days. I don't know if you've noticed.
What are you talking about?
I have become quite the big deal. I just guested on 22 Shots of Movies and Horror. I don't know if you know them, but like...
Yeah, I freaking made them.
What?
I am a co-creator of 22 Shots.
What?
I made 22 Shots of Movies and Horror.
Okay, well, either way, dude, I'm just saying I'm kind of a big deal, so don't mess with me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, so, this week, See, I'm gonna start doing this thing where I always think of things to mention on the podcast, and then I blank when it's time to do it. So I need to start, like, writing down the things that happen to me every day. Take a journal, maybe.
Dude, I literally, a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm going to start doing that. And it was the dumbest stuff. I was like, okay, March 18th, went to the grocery store and bought cheese. And then the next day, I was like, I just didn't end up writing anything else.
Went to the grocery store and bought crackers because I forgot them when I bought the cheese.
Yeah, just document all the boring stuff I did the whole week. I was going to actually literally do that, but then I thought this is kind of stupid, and then I didn't. But it's not stupid because I don't recall anything I do. So
yeah, I had a long week this week, man. It was a long one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? Because of work? Or?
No, just like I just did a lot of things. Like I was just like really busy. Watching movies, watching the Omen movies, because we had a podcast that you were on. It was the Omen franchise, which we did with Moods and Mike Merriman, and that was it. It was just us four. I couldn't remember if there was anybody else. And yeah, so I watched all the Omens, which, by the way, all of them are very long. So, you know, it was a lot of prep. So I did that. And then on top of that, I also prepared for the trivia thing that we were doing, which is now the first round is completely recorded, and I've released the first 2 episodes. So that's going well.
Yeah, that seemed to have gone very smoothly for you guys, so I'm glad that you got that all done.
Oh, that was on Saturday. Or no, Friday? No. Thursday.
It was, Thursday.
Oh my God. I recorded. So, let me think. So, I recorded. So, you know, Monday, Tuesday, I did my watching for the most part of things. Mainly the Omen films, but some other films, 91 movies that I snuck in there. So on Thursday, I started at 2 p.m. I woke up at like 1:45, rolled out of bed, was like, oh, my eyes are all tired and feeling. Hopped on Skype, 2 minutes to spare. So it was, 1:58. Talked to Brandon for a moment, and we had our first matchup. So we had a matchup between Gary Hill and Derek B. Joie 74. And that was a really good matchup. I think most people were excited about that one because they're both very knowledgeable on stupid shit that nobody cares about in horror. And then, so directly after that, that lasted about an hour or so. We started a little bit late because Derek slept in. So, it was like 3:45. I went and got a drink, came back, hopped on Skype, and recorded our 25 through 11 for the 1985 show, which is now out. That's something that also happened this week. We dropped the 1985 show, which you were a part of.
I am. It was fun. Long show, very long show, but it was a good time.
Yeah, so that, we dropped that, and that came out. So me, Moods, and Dave decided to do an extended version of that show where we did a video podcast of our 25 through 11 in the top 25 1985 horror films, which was probably maybe more interesting of a list considering there was more variety to it. So that is now on Patreon exclusively, which it will remain for, I don't know, maybe 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, somewhere around there. We'll put it out eventually to the public, but for now, if you want to check it out, it's on Patreon. $2 gets you the video and any additional content we post there, early access for the Omen show and other stuff like that. So check that out. And then
how long did that video take you guys?
Only an hour and 40 minutes.
Did you just run down your list or like, cause I didn't.
No, we were just very efficient with time. I'd say like the first like 5 or so like flew by. It only took like 20 minutes for the first 5. And then like, the next 10 where we talked a little bit more, but it ended up very well. We wanted to be under 2 hours. It was like an hour and 45. It went perfect. So
yeah, I was concerned for you guys.
I was concerned as well because like I had to be done at 6 because I had another matchup at 6, which was, who the hell was it? I don't even remember. Jason, Lloyd, and Heather.
Yeah.
So from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I recorded Derek and Gary, and then from 4 to 6, I did the extended list, and then from 6 to 7, I did Jason Lloyd, which that's the first time I've ever podcasted with Jason Lloyd, so that was cool. Nice, very nice man.
Yeah.
Heather I've podcasted with before, so Heather and Jason, that was a fun matchup. And then after that, at 7 o'clock, I did Christian, Luciani, and Dan Chase, and that was a fun matchup. That was one of my favorites. And then we had a little bit of a break. We got done at like 8:30, and our next matchup was at 10 p.m. So I ran and got some food, came back. By the time I got back, it was ready to go. And 10 to 11 or 12 midnight, you know? And that was the entire day, dude. My whole entire day was spent recording.
Yeah, like I was gonna say that sounds like it would be horrible because I would hate to do that, but the fact that it was just trivia, I feel like that's probably not too bad. And lists, so it's not like you were doing like multiple actual podcasts back to back where you have to really think about it. So
well, I almost died at one point. I started like my throat got really dry. And I started like coughing and could not stop because I was talking so much. And I was thinking about it, like it was like a 10-hour show, which is a lot, but at the same time, you know, we pretty much recorded for like 8 hours the other day. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like 2 hours more. Yeah, it's brutal. You know, it's like combined, it would have been like an 8-hour show or something. The thing that sucked the most is like I was just so tired of sitting down. Like I'm still kind of, I don't have the best chair, so I'm even right now I'm still kind of like, ugh, you know. So that's that. So, yeah, we did that. And then we, what did we do? Okay, so that I recorded that. That was on Thursday. And then Friday we recorded the Omen show, which turned out really good. I thought we did a really good job on the Omen films. I feel like it lasted a little bit longer than I was hoping for. I mean, it's a super long show. But, you know, I thought that was a really good show. So I think we covered them really well.
Yeah, I had a good time on it. I didn't know that I would because, you know, Omen's not like my favorites. Well, I hadn't even seen I'd only ever seen part 1 and part 4 actually out of those movies, but I was kind of thinking I wasn't going to like them, but pretty much, you know, for the most part, it's a solid franchise. And we did talk a lot for sure. I wasn't expecting that either, to go into such detail, especially with, I don't know, like the sequels. I just did not see that happening, but I think it made for a good show. I think, you know, there's a lot of good points brought up and whatnot, so I had fun.
Yeah. Me too, man. It was cool. And then today, good thing and bad thing today. So, good thing was we officially got announced as both participants in the Teapot's Top 10 Summer Series, which I was a participant in last year. And I had an absolute blast. I've said that it was one of the funnest things I've ever done in podcasting. And you got very lucky to get in on it, because like there are people that are like, it is such like a hot ticket to get like, seems like everybody wants to do it, and there's like a limited amount of spaces. So Duncan, of course, from Podcast Under the Stairs, you know, opens it up. Last year he opened it up to volunteers. I sneakily got in, and this year he just invited everybody back. Everybody but 2 people, I believe, said that they would come back. So you and Watson took their spots, which was just super lucky. So I'm super happy you're involved, so you get to experience it. And today we got our years.
Indeed.
So, what did you draw?
I got 2002.
And who are you podcasting with?
That is with Witch and Doug Tilly. Yes, the Witch.
I have Doug Tilly on one of mine too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which, yeah, I haven't podcasted with either of them nor Duncan before, so that's all new territory to me. But I'm always down to meet new people on these shows, and I think that they are all really good. I, of course, listened to the 90s series, and I thought everyone did a great job on that.
Dude,
so
I have such a good memory of driving home from, I want to say it was Gettysburg, and listening to the 90s show, like 94 or something. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do. I forgot about that.
Dude, it was so fun. Like, I don't know. It was just, like, really cool. It was fun listening to those on the way home, because it was like a 5-hour drive. So, you know, it was fun. and I had fun time participating. You had fun time listening, so you are familiar with it. And the second year you drew was
2004, and that one is actually with Jamie. Jamie.
Have you podcasted
Simmons.
with Jamie before?
I have not. Never have I done it. So it's kind of exciting. I have heard her on shows, and I think she is really, really good. So I think it's pretty cool. She seems really nice. And a funny thing is, the other one is Watson, and I didn't even think about the fact that he's also brand new to this. He was the other newbie, so that kind of made me feel good, not only because I've podcasted with him before, but because he's also new to it. So I'm happy with that. It makes me feel more comfortable.
I drew 2008 and 2008 I got with Doug Tilley as well as Bo Ransdell, who I think are like the two smarter guys that I remember. There was a lot of people that I didn't know that I just heard here and there on Duncan's show. And I remember being like, oh, like these two, I get them confused, but I think they're like the two smarter guys. So I feel pretty, honored, and to be, as I'm known as one of the smart guys, it makes sense. It's like a trifecta of smart dudes. So
this thing was completely randomly picked. It has nothing to do with intelligence. So.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how weird is it that the three smartest dudes in the room got on the same show?
All right, dude. Just keep telling yourself that, then you'll go on the show and be just completely. Okay.
Whenever I like as happy as I am to be on with those two dudes who I don't know, I was a little shocked that I didn't really get, like, the people that I wanted the most were just simply because I'm familiar with them, like Dave Z, you, Jamie, Jerry, or Watson, and that's because I know them the most. And I ended up only getting one of those people, which I thought the odds would say, like, I have pretty good odds of getting multiples, but I didn't. It was weird. So my 2003 show is the other one. I got Gary Hill, myself, obviously Duncan. And so whenever we were doing the draw for 2008, Jerry was like, no, when he didn't get pulled for 2008. And I was like, damn, we broke up because me and Jerry were on 2008 and 1998 and 1999 last year.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which was super random. So, this year I ended up last. So 2003 was drawn last. It was the last one. So I was doing math in my head, and I was like, wait, Jerry has one more. I already knew, my name was in 2003 because I had one more, and I hadn't been drawn yet. And I knew Jerry's was too. So I was in the kitchen at work, like flipping out, like jumping up and down, like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching it on my phone. Like, I already know, as Duncan's like reading it, like pulling the papers out, I already know I'm with Jerry. And I was like flipping crap because I just thought the odds were like, what's the odds of hitting if you draw 4 times, right? Like 4 years between the 2 years. What's the chances of hitting 3 out of 4 with the same person? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems insane with those odds. So, very happy to have him on board. Very happy with the years I have. I have many, many great films in both of the years. Like 2008 has like 3 or 4, like 3 films that could easily be the number 1 film. You got Eden Lake, you got Let the Right One In, and you have Martyrs. But there's also other great movies there. You got The Strangers. I mean, it's gonna be a tight matchup there for 2008. I mean, it's looking nice. I've actually already selected a couple of the films that for 2008 that I nominated, and I tried to nominate stuff that was a little bit less talked about because I like to sort of talk about the films a little bit more. And I have, the other year with Jerry, and he's already nominated 3 films, but I'm taking my time in that one because there's a lot of films that maybe aren't as good, but are, you know, I like to take a step back and wait and like see what other people pick, so I can, because like what Duncan does is he'll usually go last because he'll just scoop up any popular movies that weren't picked. So if like, you know, you have a year where there's like, you know, okay, like on one of the years with us, nobody picked in 99 or something. Like nobody picked this popular movie like H2O or something, which I think was 98, but nobody picked that. So Duncan knows that that's a popular one, so he'll grab that on his way in, and that's why it usually goes last. I usually try to wait a little longer and see what other people are picking, because what I want to do is I want to basically do what Duncan's doing and grab some gems too. So I'll try to do like in 98, nobody had picked Phantasm 4. So I was like, oh hell, I gotta grab Phantasm 4, you know?
Yeah.
So
good one.
This year it's different though, because we get 5 picks to start and to debate. And last time we only got 4. But yeah, super excited about this. Like I've looked at the list like 30 times today, like trying to decide. I actually own a couple that I haven't seen. I'm probably going to actually start watching them just to see if I could find any other gems there or whatever. One thing I've noticed from last year is it's better to like see as much as you kind of can out of the films that before you do the picks, you know what I mean? Or, you know, once they're picked, is a good way to do it too. I just like to get really involved in it. But you know, once they're picked, I start, even though only 10 of them are going to move on, I try to see, because here's the thing, right? So each person gets to pick 2, they automatically move on. Well, that means there's 2 left over, and it's really kind of unfair if you haven't seen all of the films to pick from, you know what I mean? So it's good to just watch them all then.
Yeah, I definitely want to try to watch all the movies once they all get picked.
Like all 40 of them?
Yeah, I probably won't, but like
No, you have to.
Oh no, I mean
you don't have to watch the ones that you've seen before.
Yeah, I know.
Right then, you know what I mean? Like you'll watch those once they're the 10 that's selected. But like, okay, let's say that there's 20 films picked, right? Okay, let's say I've seen like 15 of them. Okay, so I'm not going to really debate those ones. I'll go see the other 5, then we could debate and pull the 10. And then once the 10's there, you don't have to watch all 10 of those until you record your show.
That is what I meant.
Oh, okay.
I will, because there's a lot of movies from like 2000. I don't know. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen. I know
you haven't seen a lot of those. Like, I was giving you a little bit of like my opinions on the year. Has people started picking in 2002 yet?
No, like they've like said a few things here and there, but they haven't actually thrown out any picks yet. So
yeah, I think we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we have 12 in our 2008 group picked, and we have 3 in our 2003.
Yeah. 2002 I think is a pretty solid year. There's a lot of movies in that year that I really enjoy, so I'm gonna think about it.
I am super familiar with that year.
Yeah, I know. That would have sucked if you got it.
I know. It would have been easy because I had seen, you know, like anything that anybody would have brought to the table, I would have had an opinion on, you know what I mean? But I'm surprising myself with these other years too, because I've seen most of the films that the people were talking about, you know? So
yeah.
That's cool too. It feels good to be more of a knowledgeable horror fan, you know what I mean? I know you're still a novice and you're still learning, but you'll be there one day, buddy.
No, I'm actually pretty good at stuff, I think.
Well, maybe one day you can be a podcaster like me.
I'm like an esteemed horror podcaster now.
You're like an assistant podcaster. You're like an assistant to the podcaster, which is me.
Dude, like, I don't need you. I don't know if, like, it's kind of awkward to say, but I really just don't need you. Like, if you disappeared, I'm in this. Like, yeah, back in the day, like 3 years ago, yeah, I was a nobody, but I'm kind of my own entity right
I
now.
don't think people even know you unless, like, you're associated with me.
Back in the day, yes, I would agree. I used to be on your podcast. I was just, that girl at work. You couldn't even use my name. But now, I'm Carly. I'm Cowrie. I'm Carlt. Um, uh,
Those are all names I gave you. Even
but
Carly.
even Carly?
Yeah.
No, dude, that's my name.
It's your name because I let it be your name.
Okay, yes, fair enough. You didn't give me those nicknames. You misspelled my name because you're a horrible friend. That's how those two appeared. Um, but what I'm trying to say is like, stay in your lane.
All right. Well, okay. So that was, be on the lookout for the Teapot Summer Series. That is Duncan McLeish's summer-long podcasting extravaganza. You could check it out on podcastunderthestairs.com, which, I recommend you check out his podcast. Anyway, he puts out a ton of content. Very nice. I've said this before. I think Duncan's the hardest working man in podcasting. He's one of the absolute best podcasters out there. And that's coming from a lot. That's saying a lot coming from a guy who's, many people consider the best podcaster out there, which is me. To kind of bring a down note, like the other thing that happened to me this week, today, I found out that somebody that I knew died.
Yeah, you did tell me about that, and that was pretty sad.
Yeah, man. This girl is probably a year or two older than my sister, my youngest sister. And, I knew her, I remember she was a lot younger than me, but I used to see her as a child. I'm friends with her mom. Her mom, she had a brother who's, a year or two younger than me. Funny story about her brother. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I would like, as much of an ass that I was in like high school, like there's certain things that I just couldn't stand. And that like, there was a situation once where this dude named, Patrick and a dude named, what the heck was his name?
Justin.
Chris and Patrick. One was a black dude, one was like a bigger white dude. And I kept hearing like, yo, Chris and Patrick are gonna jump Pee-wee today. And I'm like, what? I was like, why are they jumping little ass Pee-wee? And like people kept saying it, and I was like, when's this? I found out when it was happening. And so I went up there and I seen them like shove this Pee-wee dude who I knew, I lived by him and stuff, up against the locker and stuff like that. And, they were like about to fight him, and I like got in between it. I was like, yo, this ain't happening, bro. And they were younger than me, but like, I was just like, nah, it ain't happening like that. And I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but probably one of the like decisions that like messed with that like basically like inconvenienced me for like the next 4 years, because that Chris dude, he had like 4 or 5 cousins who like just I always had problems with ever since then. And like even one time it culminated. Is that a word? Culminate?
Culminate?
I don't know. Like, I don't.
Like, what are you trying to say?
I'm saying like it built up and
escalated.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes.
It didn't it like all came together is what I'm trying to say.
Accumulated?
Probably. But I thought
I get you. I got you. Okay.
Anyway, so it all accumulated into this boiling pot type thing where like I always was like, there was another dude named like Veal, and then like Devon, and like Devon actually, his cousin Terrence was like this huge dude, and this guy like threw someone off a sidewalk once and like just snapped their arm in half. And so basically I had problems with all these people, and like the Devon dude, I ended up with more problems from Devon than the dude I originally like stopped from jumping this other kid. And that ended up in like an actual fight one day where I got like my whole face like busted on my eye. Were you cracking your knuckles over there?
Yes.
What?
It sounds like someone did my buddy wrong.
Yeah. I remember I got punched in the eye by this dude, and my whole eye swelled up like shut. Like it looked like a grape was in my eyebrow. Like a big grape. But anyway, so that kid was her brother that I like, stuck up for and stuff and just didn't want to see get jumped. And,
were they just doing that for no reason? They were going to do that to him?
There was probably a reason. They probably like got smart with him or something.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But I wasn't a fan of that like 2-on-1 thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I just was like, I didn't say like, I'll beat you guys up if you fight him. I was just like, I just stepped in between them. I was like, yo, this ain't happening. I remember I said those exact words. I was like, this ain't happening. And the Chris dude, the Patrick dude, I actually became friends with and liked for most of my, rest of those years. And I knew him anyway. He was not a bad dude. But the Chris dude, I didn't even know who he was. And his brother, Brandon, we used to call him Booby. Me and him were real cool. So one day I'm walking in the mall. I'm like, 16 or something. I'm walking in the mall and the Brandon dude comes by. I knew him from another school. So I don't know how I knew him, but he knew me more so. And he walked past. He's like, oh, what up, JP? And I gave him dap and stuff. And I was like, I couldn't remember who he was, but I knew him. And so as I'm giving him that, he's like walking away. Here, his little brother, Chris, is behind him. And he's like, yo, that's that dude, yo. And like, so Brandon came up to me and he's like, hey, what, you got a problem with my brother? I was like, and I didn't even recognize the dude because I only seen him like once in my life. And I was like, no, I ain't got a problem with your brother. I was like, I don't even know who he is. Meanwhile, I did have a problem with his brother, but it really wasn't a problem. It was just that he had a problem with me. So I have a problem with him. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, and Brandon tried to actually squash it right there because Brandon actually, I keep calling him Brandon. It sounds weird. Booby actually had he liked me. Like we used to like, smoke cigarettes in the bathroom and stuff like that. And it was just, it was just, it was just like, he wanted to smooth it over. So, but yeah, it was, luckily, years later, none of those guys, I became semi cool with most of them and stuff like that. And it was water under the bridge, but it took freaking like 4 years. You know what I mean? And, but long story short, that was her brother and I knew her from that. And I just, my heart goes out to her mother because I know her mother and, I just feel bad, man, because that, and it says drugs, dude. I'm pretty sure it was drugs. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was drugs.
Yeah.
And it's sad, because
it's a pointless death.
She was a young girl and had her whole life ahead of her and stuff like that. And I remember I keep picturing her as a kid, as, swimming and stuff with, the rest of the neighborhood and stuff like that. And just, I remember, just going to Pee-wee's birthday parties and shit like that. And, seeing her there and stuff as a child. Sad, dude. Sad.
Yeah, it is. It's all the young people that die out quick nowadays from the drug problems and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was thinking of that today, like that whole long story, and I'm like, man, I hated when I had like beefs and stuff. It was just like you always felt like, people were mean mugging you and shit was gonna pop off and stuff. You know what I mean?
No.
What?
This whole story, I'm just rolling my eyes like this didn't happen. None of this is relatable.
Did you say none of it happened?
No, none of it's relatable. No, like none
like,
of this would happen to me.
She came and checked on me when my eye was all busted up, and when I was in school suspension. She kept coming in into the room and like, you okay? Like, I'm fucking mad. Like, F those guys.
Was she mad that her cousin was done wrong?
Oh yeah, dude. She was like pissed. You know what I mean? Ask her. But yeah, what do you mean you don't understand? You can't relate? Get out of here.
Like, I can't. And yeah, I did say none of this happens because like that never happened at my school. Even like you're like, yeah, we were real tight. We smoked cigarettes in the bathroom. Like, you can. No one smokes cigarettes in the bathroom.
What? Are you serious?
Well, by the time I got to high school, dude, like everyone in the previous year. What? Quit interrupting me. What did you say?
I said smoking was probably not like cool anymore.
Oh no, a lot of people smoke cigarettes, but like I'm saying that by the time I got to high school, you guys all have ruined school so much, like the past years and the 80s, 90s, all that. Like I'm in high school here in the freaking 2010s. And it's a prison at this point. Yeah, like, you can't get away with anything in high school anymore. I feel bad for, like, how it's going to be when other kids are older, because it's just horrible.
I mean, my aunt, Shannon's mom, told me when she was a kid, which is just creepy when I think about it now, but she said that, like, this teacher, Mr. Martin, he was this black dude, she would go smoke in the bathroom, and when she would come back, he'd be like, "Was you smoking?" And she's like, "No," and he's like, "Let me smell your fingers." When she came back, he would always ask to smell her fingers, but like, it kind of creeped me out when I thought about it. Like, if a teacher asked that nowadays,
yeah, that's like considered rape nowadays.
But for an example of like times, well, that teacher, I had him too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had him, he retired like 2 years after I was done in his class, but he was the art teacher. He was scary. Black dude, super scary. Had a deep voice. He didn't mess around. Like, you didn't talk in his class, yo. But, you know what I'm saying? So I did have a lot of teachers who were teachers in the 80s.
Yeah, I did too, actually. A lot of my teachers, like, it seemed like they retired when I was halfway through school. We had this one gym teacher who just, it was probably January or March or something. He comes in one day and he's like, "All right, guys, this is my last day. I'm taking the rest of my vacation days, and you're going to have a substitute the rest of the year. I'm done." And he was, like, done.
Dude, my class, like, my particular class was so bad, dude. Like, the class... Like, when we went to middle school, dude, it was like hell. Like, I remember there was this teacher named Miss Baker, and she was so out of her element. You could tell she was from a bygone era, right? She was from this era of, like, she was old. She was probably taught in, like, the damn 60s and 50s or something, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You know, she was probably teaching for 40 years or something like that, you know what I mean? And... like, she had zero control over the classroom. Like people were just like they didn't learn any, like, it was just like, it was like, you ever watch a cartoon and like you just hear all those like fucking cats and stuff, and like, you know, all these noises and airplanes flying. It was just like that, you know, it was just like chaos. And I remember, like, people were just sitting on top of the desks, like, rapping and shit. Like, people were like talking about, like, you know, do you like hooking up with this girl or that girl or whatever? And like, I remember she was trying to tell, like, the dude something, and he's just like, "Fuck you," and she's like, "What did you say to me?" And he's like, "Fuck you." And I was just like, I was even like, "Yo, that's like crazy." And like, she just started crying, and then she just never came back.
Yeah, I feel bad for that. I always felt bad. She just
lost all control. Yeah, she had no control, and you could just tell she was like a fish out of water. Like, she just was like, dude, like, she's like, what? Like, it reminded me of, like, you ever see, like, it reminded me of, like, freaking, you know, like, Class of 1984 or something, where it's like, just, you know, the era has gotten so bad that it's like, it's almost like not real. And that's what it reminded me of, because she was just like, she just couldn't do anything, you know, she couldn't handle it. And this, this particular time period was like so bad too, because they were remodeling the entire school. So there was no there was no heat in the school. Everybody was wearing, like, in the wintertime, everybody was wearing, like, you know, winter jackets in classrooms. There was no, like, floor, like, all the floors and walls were concrete with, like, wires hanging out of the ceiling and stuff like that. And there was no computers or internet and no roll call. There was paper roll call, but, like, nobody, like, checked it because it was, like, too much or something. There was no cameras. It was just utter, like, chaos. And it was one of the funnest times I've ever had in school. And there was, like, fights every day. I think, like, there was, like, I don't know. I know I got suspended, like, 4 times in, like, the first, like, month. You know what I mean? From fighting. So everybody was just trying to prove themselves too, because how our middle school was it was like, first of all, we were a little bit older, because, like, I think middle school now is like 6th grade and up.
It's for me it was 6th to 8th grade.
See, back then it was 7th and up. So, you know, we're hitting puberty, you know, we're, you know, getting, you know, testosterone and stuff like that. All these, you know, girls, like, from others we never seen before, you know, we're competing, we're like animals, like, trying to get their attention and stuff like that. So there was, like, I think 6 different elementary schools that combined into the middle school. Plus you had the 8th graders too. And on top of that, this was really cool. So our middle school and high school were in the same building. So because they were renovating all the rooms, you might have classes on the high school side, you know, so there was actual, like, you'd be in 7th grade, you know, walking down the hall next to, like, you know, 12th graders. So, you know, well, that was a little scary and intimidating, especially, like, because Terrence was there and he was, like, 11th grade or something. He was scary and he used to mess with everybody. He'd be like, "Why are you walking in my hall, yo?" And he's like, you know, like, messing with people. He's like, "What's wrong, little boy?" Like, just stuff like that. And then I was like, but he never did that to me. So, but, like, I was with people that he did it with, and I was just like, man, I'm glad I'm not him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And now you live right down the road from that school.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my high school and middle school experience was a little bit different from all that.
Like, did you have people, like, I had, like, people doing drugs in school and stuff. Did you have
No.
Yeah.
Like, in school, in the bathroom?
Like, straight up doing, like Vicodin and Oxycontin and stuff. And Ritalin.
I mean, I don't think I had that, at least, but
yeah.
I mean, I never even, it's like I never heard any stories or anything either, so it makes me think I don't think any of that type of stuff really went down. But yeah, when I got, like I said, when I got to school, we had freaking metal detectors you had to go through, and, like, they had to search your bag, and it just got, like, it was by my senior year, it was pretty much all just total control, because I don't know, with all the shootings and things like that too, it's completely changed schools. And I was a good kid, so I did not really get into trouble anyway.
Yeah, my first fight, I got pantsed in the middle of the cafeteria. It was horrible.
Yeah, I've wanted to fight a few people, but I just was scared and never did, and I wish I would have.
No, I don't even like the fight. I hate it.
I just wish I would have, like, punched one person in the face.
All right, so with high school stories out of the way, let's talk about what we watched.
All right. Who shall go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
What was the last thing that I talked about?
Reanimator.
How do you know?
Because I have them all written down.
Written where?
On my, like, notes in my thing. On my phone.
Oh, okay. All right,
so I keep track of it.
All right, I gotta scroll back and see what I last.
Did you watch a lot?
Not nearly as much as last time.
Thank God.
Yeah, so I started 91, and I watched Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, the remake. a lot of you people are probably listening right now like, what? Whatever happened to Baby Jane, the remake? I didn't even know there was one. There was, in fact, a TV movie remake made in 1991, and it follows a woman who is a child actor and her sister who is a child actor. And one of the sisters gets like more roles and is more popular. And then it flashed forward to when they're adults, and you could tell that even when they were kids, the one was like jealous of the other one. And, Baby Jane is like crazy, and she takes care of her other sister, like Margaret or something. It's probably not her name. Blanche. I think it's Blanche, actually. And, she takes care of her, and she's in a wheelchair, and her acting career ended because, she's in a wheelchair because she was like hurt in an accident. And Baby Jane like wants to get her career going again, but she's like nuts. And then she meets this sleazy producer, and it just goes from there. And meanwhile, she's like punishing her sister pretty much. So pretty good, honestly. Does that sound like the other one?
I've never seen the other one.
Oh, I thought you were a fan of the other one.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's everybody else.
I actually really liked it. Everybody else told me it sucks and I should watch the original, but I mean, I guess that's one of those cases where it's like, well, I saw this one first, and since it's, a good script, it probably is going to be a decent movie. But yeah, I gave that an 8 out of 10. So kicked off the 90s pretty strong. I really, really liked that film. And the main reason I liked it is because the weirdo performance by the woman who plays Baby Jane. Then I watched Where Evil Lives from 1991. And this is an anthology. It's a trauma film. And it follows It follows a man digging a hole telling stories. And the first story is a story about this like shooter who goes and kills a bunch of people, and then he gets out of jail. And which, by the way, he would not have been released from jail after killing all those people. But he starts seeing visions of the people he killed, like ghosts, but they come back as like zombies. So it's like sort of a ghost zombie thing, and they get their revenge. The second story is about a teen boy who gets seduced by a vampiress, and his sister must help him out. And the third story is about like a witch, and it sucked. It wasn't really good at all. I like the wraparound for being so stupid and simple, but I like just saw where it was going, but I still kind of felt like it was a simple and effective wraparound. But the stories were just, the first one's the best, and then the other two are kind of weak, but just not very good anthology.
What was it called again?
Where Evil Lives.
And that was, you said that was a 91 movie?
Yep, it's a trauma film, 1991.
Right.
Then I watched The Runestone, which is from 1991. And it is a film that involves Norse mythology, which is pretty funny. And there's like this werewolf, like beastly. Well, they find this big stone tab, the Runestone, in underground, and in Pennsylvania. And it summons up this werewolf, like beastly freak creature thing, and they gotta stop it and stuff. It was pretty cool. It wasn't great, but it was like, very okay. I gave that one a 6.5 out of 10. And Where Evil Lives, I gave 4 out of 10. Cool. Then I watched The Omen, which you can hear my full thoughts on the Omen podcast, which will be out. It might not be out by the time you hear this, but it'll be out soon. Very good movie, obviously. And then I watched Dead Space from 1991, which is a sort of like a little Alien ripoff. I think Derek said it was a remake of Humanoids from the... No, it wasn't. He said it was a remake of one of the Roger Corman films. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. I liked it. Very short, quick little movie. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Then we watched Damien the Omen 2, a fantastic little follow-up there. Again, listen to my full thoughts on that show. I watched the Omen 3 from 1981. I thought that, it's also a solid follow-up. Check out my review on that in Carly's review. Then I watched the Omen 4 Awakening, which is also a 1991 movie, so we'll talk about it a little bit. And it follows it follows the first 3 Omen films, but it's what I liked mostly about it was just how like kind of crazy it is considering, you know what I mean? Especially like the ending and stuff. But I really enjoyed The Omen 4, and it's a pretty solid 91 film. So that is The Omen 4. And by the way, the Omen, all the Omen films that I watched there were all part of the Omen Scream Factory box set, which I own, so that counts for watches. So yeah, those are the only ones I watched on disc this week. And then I watched one on Tubi. I'm kind of addicted to these. I watched one, I think I told you about it. It was like a thriller when we were doing 85. I forget what it was called. Did I ever log that?
The Silent Witness, that one?
Yeah, that was it. What was that one about?
The lady witnesses a rape or something.
That's
and then
what
she's
it was.
like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All the titles sound the same to me.
Yeah, they are. They're all just like, oh,
this
she
one's
wouldn't.
called
Yeah.
A Violation of Trust, aka it's also known as She Said She Didn't Do It. And it involves a young girl who is 16 years old. And I just love these early 90s films because it reminds me, like, they look like my mom's friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's really cool. Like, they got these high, like, these jeans that are all, like, up on their waist and stuff, and their hair's all uppity and stuff. And I just kind of like that look. And she's in school, and she is dating this dude. And I was actually kind of shocked a little bit that it was dealing with like sexual situations for like 16-year-olds, but she finds out her boyfriend like might have had sex with like the popular schoolgirl, and she's like all upset about it, so she confronts her, and they find out like she's pregnant and stuff, so they chase her through like to the mountains, and then she like falls off of like a cliff or something, and then it is like you know, an investigation, like where they're like, hey, you know, we think your daughter's involved in this and stuff, and more like it's the detectives like pressure and the mom, which is played by Katie Sagal from Married with Children, and it's like it's very interesting. But the funny thing is, I'm watching it the whole time, and I'm like because they don't show the whole thing of what happened that night, but like I'm confused because I'm like, wait, are we supposed to like hate the girl because she's lying, or like is she actually like didn't kill her? And I'm like, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like, hell yeah, she killed her. Like I remember them showing her kill her. You know what I mean? But it turns out that it's not actually what you think happened. Like it's different. There's like a twist in the end kind of thing. But the ending gets like really freaking dark. So I was like, I really like this movie. It's very solid, dude. I don't know. I was just like super into it. And it goes by real fast, and it's like a lot of talking, but I really enjoyed it. Good performances and stuff like that. I kind of gave it an 8. I'm not even gonna lie, yo.
You kind of gave it an 8?
Yeah, I gave it an 8, and I was like, damn, like that's kind of crazy, but I really liked it. Like, but it's like straight thriller drama, but it does get really dark in the end. I wouldn't say it's a horror film at all, but like, I think that it's worth watching for horror fans because of like the reveal in the end. Then I watched The Omen 2006. Think Psycho 98, but not shot for shot, more like scene for scene. Pretty much the same movie as the original Omen with just, you know, glossier look to it. 2006. Then we have movie number 177, by the way.
Dang.
And what's that?
Dang.
Yeah, and it is I think like my 7th film of 1991 already, and it is Murder in New Hampshire, the Pamela Wojas Smart story from 1991. Wojas Smart.
We're just gonna call that a Murder in New Hampshire and leave it at that.
Yeah. So this one, another one of those like Lifetime thrillers, which by the way, I grew up watching a lot of Lifetime with my mom and grandma, like a ton. Like my pap even used to start watching it because my grandma watched it so much. And I from in like probably the mid 2000s, I probably seen so many Lifetime movies. But
they were good back then, and now I go over to my mom's and she has it on, and it's just so stupid. It's like my divorced husband killed me, or like that's like the name of the titles, and it just they just have gone downhill.
I remember there was this one where this girl used to like cut herself all the time. That was a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
There was one where this kid was like addicted to porn. That was a good one. There was one where this girl was like homeless and made it to Harvard. That was a good one. There's one where this kid had a kid and he's like trying to take care of it and stuff because the mom didn't want it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was like a deadbeat mom movie, which I thought was pretty cool. That was a good one. There was a bunch of good ones. I watched a ton of good ones back then.
Yeah, me too.
But, this one, I don't even think these are made for Lifetime. They're like ABC or something like that, but I'm sure they aired on Lifetime at some point. Yeah. This one is based on a true story. It follows a woman who's like 24 in the movie. I think she was actually only 22 in real life, but I think in the movie, because this is based on a true story, the movie she's 24. But she gets a job like teaching like a youth program about like anti-drug stuff. And her husband is like a heavy metal head, but he's like getting a corporate job and he like cuts his hair and stuff like that. This girl seems like real shallow. Like she cares about like money a lot and things like that. And she is, she's like into metal, and there's this kid in there who's into metal. He's like 15 years old, in that youth program. And she like bonds with him a little bit. And she ends up, and there's a girl in there too that she befriends that's friends with the kid. And so she starts like hanging out with this kid and like basically like seduces him, but it's done in like such the most dumbass way ever. Like where she's hanging out with the kid and the girl, and she's like making out with the kid the whole time. And like the girl's just sitting there awkward on the couch. And I'm like, but the girl's like also a student, you know what I mean? So it's like she doesn't care that this girl sees it. And then she like openly talks about murdering her husband to the kid, and like the girl's like, you guys aren't really gonna do that, right? And she's like, yeah, we're gonna do it. And I'm just like, no wonder this bitch got caught, you know what I mean? She's dumb as fuck. But you know, I thought that it was like ridiculous and stupid, but it's what happened because I looked up the real story. You know what I mean? So I'm like, it comes off like the movie's badly written because it's like, who would do that? But that's actually what happened. But again, I was so into this. It was like so dramatic, and I was into it. And like, I gave that one a solid 7 out of 10. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's it for me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Pretty
Mostly,
good.
The Omens took up a lot of my time, honestly.
Yeah, that pretty much, your list kind of looks similar to mine. Yeah, I also tried to get crack-a-lackin' on 91. I started with, I started off big, like I keep on doing, but it was The People Under the Stairs from, of course, 1991. Yeah, this movie, you know, if you haven't seen it before, definitely check it out. It's a great film. Is
it your number one of 91?
I mean, as of now, probably. But yeah, definitely probably one of the highlights of 91, to be honest, considering everything else that came out that year. But we'll see. Gotta dig deeper into that. You know, just great characters in this. The little boy is dope. The whole this movie's super dark, but not in a dark way. Like the stuff it's tackling is something that you would see in like some tortury, depressing movie, but it does it in a way that's like, you know, it's got child abuse and like incesty stuff and just all this horrible stuff, but it's done in, I guess, the Wes Craven type of way. So I always thought that was kind of weird and unique about it, but it works well in the film. And I like these movies where someone's like kind of stuck inside a house or something that they're not supposed to be in, or just an area where they aren't supposed to be and they have to get out. So you know, that's one of the, I would say, classics from the 90s. So if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. And then after that, we got pretty much the stream of the Omen films. You know, the first Omen, of course, that's classic material. That's a good movie. Omen 2, you know, had fun with it. Omen 3 was a decent follow-up. Omen 4, just a fun TV movie. And Omen remake, pretty much what JP said. Same as like Psycho, it's a scene by scene sort of remake. But you can listen to that show to hear full thoughts. Then after that, we have another 91 movie, and that is Howling 6. I watched this one because JP, you actually gave me the DVD set. I think it's got like 3, 5, and 6 or something random like that on it. But
well, yeah, it has 3, 5, and 6 because Howling 4 was owned by a different company. I believe that's the beginning, or the New Nightmare or something. It's like the prequel, which I thought did I not give you that one too?
You might have actually given me that. You gave me part 2 as well, I know, but you actually might have gave me part 4 too. I just have to relook.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think I did. But yeah, Howling 6, The Freaks.
Yeah, I've only seen, well, I guess I've seen Howling 1 and 2 at this point, and, but none of the other sequels, but, you know, there's no continuity with them anyway, so figured I could watch this one. Not a great film at all, but it does have some interesting stuff. This one's got, like, a carnival-y type scene to it, and, some interesting characters, and, you know, the werewolf-y parts like aren't great, but they're not the worst I've ever seen either, so it's probably not the worst. I can't really compare it to the other sequels, but I hear that they're all pretty much horrible, so I didn't think this was too bad. I still didn't, I gave it like a 4 out of 10. I mean, it's not anything special, but the settings alone kind of made it interesting to watch. Then after that, another 91 film. This is actually the one I started with. I forgot to write it down, though, on my list and just added it here. But it is Freddy's Dead, A Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie is pretty bad. I see it now. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the Nightmare franchise. I've said that multiple times. So I always thought, like, people were being over-dramatic with this one being such an abomination and all that, but watching it this time, I definitely see it, especially if you're a diehard fan of the franchise. They really do kind of just make Freddy a total joke. Everything in the movie is pretty jokey, especially towards like the beginning, and with the video game stuff and the tripping out stuff. It's just I
love the Spencer scene. The thing literally the only thing I hate in the movie is the sound effect when Spencer's like bouncing up and down, where it's like poink, poink, poink.
I hate him bouncing up and down too. I think it's
that too.
The whole thing is ridiculous.
I hate both of those things, but like I like a lot of stuff in that one. I like the concept of the last of the Elm Street kids, and like this weirdo town that Springwood became, where it's like all like. It's creepy as hell, you know what I mean? There's no children in it and stuff like that. It's like creepy. And then I like the beginning where like it's like the Wizard of Oz thing, and it's like the dream in the dream. He keeps jumping out the window and shit. He's like, I'm not getting off the bed no matter what. And then the fucking house sets on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like so bad it's good.
No,
I guess.
good.
No, it's not that good.
And you know what scene used to always like fuck me up was Carlos's death.
Yeah, that's probably the best one, I think. As far as disturbing
because, like,
goes.
It's disturbing because like he's like no mama please, like, and you're like, wow, this kid's mom used to abuse the shit out of him when he was a kid. You know what I mean? Because it's like you get all those like little like, because even the girl, like, her dad used to molest her. You know what I mean? Like there's all this dark shit about like the orphan kids. And then also you have like Alice Cooper is Freddy's dad.
Yeah, which I literally just noticed this time around.
And then
that's
like son
stupid.
of 100 maniacs, son of 100 maniacs, like that. I'm making fun of Freddy.
Yeah, but it's stupid because they actually write on the back of the cover like this features cameos by freaking Roseanne, Tom Arnold, Alice Cooper, and all these people, and I never realized that
and
was
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. I respect that he came back for that and wanted to do that, but
yeah, oddly enough, Wes Craven, when he made Wes Craven's New Nightmare, he didn't, if you notice, Johnny Depp's not in it. And he said that, like, Johnny Depp was, like, too big of a star. Like, I didn't even think that he would even consider it, so I never asked him. And, like, apparently Johnny Depp was interviewed about it before, and he's like, yeah, I wish you would have asked me. I totally would have did it.
Yeah, and that is cool, because most people do become big stars, and they become too good for those movies, so that makes me respect Johnny Depp a little more.
Hell yeah, I like Johnny Depp. Good dude.
Yeah, best part, I like the end of Freddy's Dead when she's just like, Freddy's dead. What a great line. 10 out of 10.
Every town has an Elm Street. I love that part. Listen, I'm not going to... Listen.
What?
I'm not going to say that Freddy's Dead is not going to be on my list.
I mean, it depends on how this year goes, really, for me, because there's a lot of movies I haven't seen from it, so if it's... If they're not that good of movies, this might end up on my list too. Who knows? But we shall see towards the end. That's what's exciting about this year, is I don't know all the movies. But to move right along, I actually watched, coincidentally, I watched The Howling. I just watched that today, because I'm going to do that on the Movie versus Movie podcast, so we'll be recording
Howling
that.
Versus what?
An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, it's a pretty good matchup. Those are the two mainstay werewolf films that everybody talks about.
Yeah, and it's
in fact, I think the special effects artist left The Howling in order to go work on American Werewolf in London.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something along those lines. Who did the Howling or the Werewolf in London effects?
I don't know.
Was it Rick Baker? For some reason, I want to say that.
I haven't brushed up on my American Werewolf in London trivia.
Have you ever seen it?
American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
We saw it in the theater.
So you did see it?
You and I saw it in the theater.
Together?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking.
You're annoying, dude.
Why?
Because you don't remember things, and you probably actually don't remember that.
What do you mean?
I just think you don't remember it.
It was Rick Baker. I'm a fucking genius, dude. I think Rick Baker was originally working on The Howling, and he was supposed to, and he ended up doing American Werewolf in London instead.
Is he like a professional werewolf film guy?
Rick Baker?
I don't know who that is, dude.
He's like a famous special effects artist.
Okay, well, that was a joke, because why did he leave one werewolf film to go to the next?
I don't know, maybe John Landis was cooler than Joe Dante.
I would not. Screw John Landis.
Buddy, why? Wait, is that because of the murder?
Yes!
Oh. So here's a little list of Rick Baker effects. So you got It's Alive, you got Squirm, King Kong from '76, Star Wars 4, Incredible Melting Man, It's Alive 2, the other Star Wars, The Howling. Oh, so he did. Oh, he was the consultant though. Altered States, The Funhouse, American Werewolf in London, Videodrome, Ghost Story, It's Alive 3, Harry and the Hendersons, Gorillas in the Mist. Let's see here. Ed Wood, Body Bags, the TV movie Wolf, Escape from LA, The Frighteners, The Nutty Professor, Batman Forever. I mean, he's done so much stuff. Men in Black, X-Men. Yeah, he's the Grinch. Jim Carrey's the Grinch.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a Planet of the Apes. Like, yeah, he's like very famed.
Well, maybe he should get a cooler sounding name.
Rick Baker?
Yeah, Rick Baker. That sounds like such a just common white guy off the street name. That's like Tom Savini. Everyone knows Tom
Greg
Savini's
Nicotero.
Name. Right? Yeah, yeah. They just have those cool last names. Like Baker's the most common. Rick, I don't know. I'm just saying. But, yeah, so I watched The Howling and American Werewolf in London. I watched those both today because I usually like for that show.
Which one do you like more?
Well, I'm not telling you because we didn't do the show yet.
So, do you guys often line up the same or no?
I would say probably, yeah, it seems like we do. The last episode we did not. There's a few where we don't.
What was the last episode?
That was The Good Son and Orphan.
So you liked The Good Son more?
I did, yes. But he never had seen The Good Son before, so it's kind of interesting. And for me, I feel like a lot of nostalgia kind of plays into my like for that film. But it's still a good film.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's like a great film, but I think I could see how he would, especially with Orphan, Orphan kind of feels like a more amped up version of that movie, so I think I
might like Orphan better. I think it's just a little bit better, but Good Son's good too.
Yeah. Yeah. But
all right, so that's it?
No, actually. Oh. The last one is Child's Play 3. I watched that today as well.
Did you love it?
I like Child's Play 3 quite a bit.
It grew on me incredibly. Last time when we did it on the podcast like 2 or 3 years ago, I loved it, and then I bought it on Blu-ray before we went and seen the new one, and I loved that one too. And I was just like, I loved it watching it then too, and I was like, man, Child's Play 3 is so fun.
I was always very grossed out by the intro with the blood going in with that mixture.
Is that the one where they cut? No, that's the second one, huh?
Where they do what?
Scrape the skull of the doll. That's the second one. That one's I like that intro too. Scary. That's the one that dude. Both of the intros are very good in Chucky 2 and 3 though.
Yeah, but part 3 something about that. Part 3 is where they like pick him up with that clamp and then he bleeds. It just kind of grosses me out that the doll is bleeding real blood, and then it goes into the mixture to make him.
Damn, I want to watch that movie now.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoy it. I think Child's Play is actually a pretty solid franchise in my opinion. It's not like one of my favorites, but it's really pretty solid with its movies. So, and that's the last one I watched today.
Okay.
So.
All right. All right. Also, me and Moods were working on watching. We're working on this bonus show that we're doing. It's not going to be a bonus show. It's actually going to be an episode, but we've been recording parts of it. In our remember how I was going through my week last week? I forgot to mention I recorded on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday as well.
Jeez.
So Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and. Wait, is today Saturday?
Yep.
So I recorded 6 out of 7 days last week.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's also why I'm burnt out.
It's funny how that happens. Like you could be totally chill for a while and then all of a sudden you have a podcast every day of the week.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our featured review here. It is from 2019, getting its wide release in 2020. It came out on April 10th, which is my birth.
Mm-hmm.
And it is titled We Summon Thy Darkness.
Yes. Kind of, yes. And the plot with this one is 3 best friends embark on a road trip to a heavy metal show where they bond with 3 aspiring musicians and head off to one of the girls' country homes for an after party.
Yeah, so I don't want to get too okay. Oh man, this is a rough one because it is hard to talk about this film without spoiling it.
I thought that the other day. I like how IMDb really did. I was worried reading that, but it actually doesn't give anything away there. Essentially you have these 3 girls. They have this certain style to them. You could tell they're probably on their way to a concert or something, and they're on this road trip kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they stop at a gas station and everything. And right off the bat I was really into this because it reminded me of a road horror type of film, and I thought the 3 girls really had this cool bond. The whole movie I'm wondering who they were because 2 of them looked very familiar, and I realized the one girl's from Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then the other one is from Hellfest. She got them
nice titties.
Sure. And then the other
No, she does.
Sure. And then the other one is from Hellfest.
Which one?
That's the one that was bothering me the most. The more innocent-y one.
Beverly.
Beverly, yeah.
I didn't notice that. But the blonde looked really familiar to me, and she was in nothing.
She actually looked a little bit, she kind of reminded me a little bit of Lucy Hale, I think, in some parts. She kind of looked a little bit like her. I think that's why she looked familiar to me. But yeah, so, they're on this journey. They're going to you find out they're going to a metal show. And while they're driving, these guys kind of like throw something out their car, just, kind of being a-holes, throwing garbage out the window. And when they get to the concert, they actually happen upon these guys again. Coincidentally, these dudes are just at the concert, and they meet up with them, hang out, go to the show, and have a good time. And they're all kind of bonding pretty well. So the main girl pretty much in the trio says, let's go, we're staying at my dad's house about 30 minutes away. And they travel there, and they're kind of just drinking and having a good time outside. And then things kind of, get a little bit turned upside down.
There's it's set in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, it's 88. 88.
Yeah. So, that's pretty cool. It didn't really feel that much like the 80s, if I'm being totally honest, other than like the reference to like Nintendo and the music they're talking about and the car and stuff. But there's also a satanic cult killing people across their area. I think there has been 18 murders so far, and that comes into play in the film. So a couple of things that I liked. First of all, I like the setup a lot. I like these girls. They're all, pretty good looking, pretty sexy. The dudes are, I don't know. Are they good looking dudes?
Not in my opinion. They actually, to me, that's the one thing. I feel like they look like dudes from the 80s, and I don't find that I didn't think any of them were attractive myself. The one's got like this mullet, and then the other one's got this wild curly hair, then the other one's a little bit overweight, and I don't know.
I thought they were a little bit funny.
Yeah.
I liked the interactions between them. It was good. And I thought the whole like, tailgating before the show was really awesome, and then the brief little shots of the show was pretty cool. Probably could have been done a little bit better, but I still liked it. I liked them talking about what their first concerts were, and like how many, what all they saw and stuff like that. The only thing that I'll say is like some of that conversation, once you get into later in the film, I feel like some of that was a little bit too good. You know what I mean? How that conversation was going. And then another thing that bothered me a little bit was I think the Beverly character is completely underwritten and just basic and bland as F. Like, it's like I was like rolling my eyes at what happened with her character. I'm like, of course, anytime there's a situation like this, there's got to be one. And it's just like, I just felt like that character was so weakly written.
Yeah, I didn't mind it too much. I kind of
boring. It's just the same shit all the time with that character.
Yeah, to me, she was kind of like the outsider you learned to begin with out of the three of them. So it made a little bit
that.
of sense.
Why can't all three of them just be on the same page and play it that way? There's always got to be one, that sticks. It's always the same thing. I hate it. And it's just so basic. It's like so easy to write that character. That's the one that was like almost the biggest flaw for me. Other than that, the motive's pretty dumb, but still I thought it worked because it was funny. This film kind of goes into like a comedic turn in the maybe second act of the film, and it starts getting a little funny. Did you notice that?
Yeah, for sure. It gets people, just the crazy way people are talking, the stuff they're saying and doing. It totally gets comedic a bit. Which I was under the impression this was more of a straight up horror movie, so I was a little surprised by that. But I didn't mind it. I actually thought it worked well. It was much like Porno or even Satanic Panic from last year, where everything kind of jives together well with the comedy and the horror aspect. So I did not mind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought that it was kind of a cool. I liked that it was, the way that it was kind of the metal heads that everybody wear. I like films that are kind of set like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it's
So,
like really, I thought it was just the whole intro I was really into. I definitely like the beginning aspects to the movie a little bit better than how it all ends. Although I didn't mind those parts at all either. I like the film as a whole, but I like the intro where you're kind of having just the girls on the road trip and all talking and then meeting up with the guys. It all felt very realistic to me, which sometimes that doesn't work. And the way they're all dressed is perfect. It seemed very down to earth in a way, and I dug that.
dude,
And then what?
Go ahead.
Oh, and then when they're drinking like outside, I like that too, because that all seemed like something that reminded me of something that I would do, hang out with people and just drink and talk and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that felt very natural, and like I've done that a million times. You know, so I like that. There's one kill where a person gets stabbed. It's like the first one. I thought that was really. It was like gross kill. Like it was just like
like like bothersome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It was bloody, and the where they're stabbed is like kind of like that would suck to die that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really hard. It sucks actually. It's hard to say anything about this because.
Yeah. So I'll kind of leave it at that. I thought it was pretty good, honestly. I really liked it. I liked the setting. I liked the setup. I actually what actually the main story is about surprised me. I didn't actually expect that to happen. But I will say the weakest point to me is some of the writing. It's just very basic. There's actually a cameo by the girl's father who has a cameo at the end. I was like, oh crap, that's awesome. I didn't know that, you know? So, that was cool. It's a little ridiculous, obviously, but it's like comedic, so it's okay. The weakest point is some of the writing, and the Beverly character I thought was absolutely horrible. I actually took a big chunk off for that because I just thought she was dreadful. The performance was fine. The writing was just awful. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For me, the Beverly character didn't bother me too much because I felt like at the beginning she is super cool with all of them, and then she starts kind of acting funny, and I'm kind of thinking, like, why is she acting like this? I don't know, kind of like added mystery to what's going on for me, and I think I like that girl too. She has like a good look to her, like a good innocent look to her, and I really enjoyed her in Hellfest, so I think her performance really
with me.
I think her performance was great. You suck. I give this movie 8.5 out of 10.
Seriously?
Yes, I don't get the hate for it.
Well, I'm telling Moods on you.
You know what? Tell Moods, tell Venom, whatever. I don't care.
Venom didn't like it either?
I'm pretty sure Moods said, but I didn't hear the show, but I think that they both were in agreement that it was, well, Venom actually said it was lame, I believe, in Fresh Cuts, so.
Okay, so anyway, I will do, I was going to ask you, did I not do Letterboxd reviews for porno?
I think we might have forgot about that.
Dang, I forgot. Okay, so Letterboxd reviews. Here, we have one positive, one negative. These are both from my friends. So Shelby making her return. She's the positive. She gave it 9 out of 10. She says, this movie was awesome. Daddario is always a joy to watch, and this movie was no exception. I love the twist. This one took good stuff. And then from Lee McCoy, he gave it a 2.5 stars. He said, We Summon the Darkness is very lacking. It borrows elements from a lot of brackets, 80s culture, metal, kidnapping, torture. But I think he means it, but it gives half-hearted attempts to each one of those elements. It doesn't even feel like an 80s movie at all, actually. It barely grazes the heavy metal aspect, and the let's capture and torture some people for the fuck of it. I edited that because there were spoilers. Plot line really is pointless because the characters feel so one-dimensional. Oh, and Alexandra Daddario is in it. So he gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
All right, well, I disagree.
Okay. Well, I don't really know him. I just follow him for some reason.
Well, you tell him I disagree.
Okay.
With him.
Moods gave it a 4 out of 10 with a review of Religious Radicals.
It's not a review.
He does his 2-word reviews.
I just want to... I wish his 2-word reviews, like, revealed to me what he actually thought.
Oh.
So...
Well, he did do a Fresh Cuts episode, so I think you can listen to that first.
I don't feel like it. Right now.
All right, so that is it. We finished our episode, our review.
We sure did.
I missed the theater, so hopefully one day we'll be able to go back to that. But for now, we're going to continue with these, I guess, home video type of VODs. Yeah. And the film that we're going to cover next week is a film starring Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. It is called Vivarium, and it follows a young couple looking for a perfect home find themselves trapped in a mysterious labyrinth-like neighborhood of identical houses.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I had heard somebody talk about it on a podcast, and I was like, that actually sounds like something I want to see. And so I was like, I thought it was a Netflix film, so I was going to save it for Netflix and chill. Mm-hmm. But
I did too.
Well, if it is, then we'll do something else. Mm-hmm. No, it's not on Netflix. So yeah. Right. So we will do that. And if, because I don't think anything else is coming out. But one thing I wanted to say before we finished up here is the film company that actually produced this film is Saban Films, not Vivarium, the film we just did, and We Summon the Darkness. And they've been quite busy this year because I was just looking. I knew I heard of Saban Films before, which I have. They've done films for years now. They've done all the way back in 2014 they were doing stuff. They did 31, Rob Zombie's 31. They did Power Rangers, but they did Day of the Dead Bloodline, which I heard sucked. But they also, this year alone, they seem to be getting better. They did 3 from Hell last year and Jay and Silent Bob last year. But this year they did Come to Daddy and Guns Akimbo, as well as Vivarium and We Summon the Darkness.
Cool.
So they've done all those this year. So I figure, hell, let's watch Vivarium since they did that one too. So we will watch Vivarium next week, which I didn't know it's been out this long, but it's been out for a month already.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It seems like it's just been floating around recently with people talking about it. So
yeah, so we'll check that out, and then we will get back with you guys next week. So with that said, I guess we will talk to you later, and peace out.
Peace.